Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be trying to explain what intelligence is. Now, uh, first of all, we humans are animals. We didn't begin with technology. We created technology by just like making fires and heating rocks up, and they molded in a certain way, and then we learned how to put it all together. But before that, we had no technology for over like 90,000 years. For like 90,000 years, all we had was the stick and like the leather skins on our backs and stuff like that. But we were still able to survive. And so the thing is that that any animal with a brain is intelligent because it's learning to deal with its environment, having information come in, then using that information to survive. And so the thing is, when what general intelligence. So the thing is that humans have general intelligence, and general intelligence mostly came about through language. Now the thing is like that even mice have a way of learning that is general, but the thing is it doesn't involve language. You see, the on an IQ test, there's this it's called figure weights. And figure weights is most highly correlated with general intelligence. But also figure weights is most highly correlated with the parietal and frontal lobe junction, which is the parietal lobe and the frontal lobe interconnecting back and forth to each other uh, across the sensory motor cortex and the sensory cortex and the motor cortex. So the thing is that when those go back and forth, they help you orient yourself in space. And so the thing is that once you have yourself oriented in space, then you know how to navigate. You know how, and when you know how to navigate, the ones that navigate best, and then also use other faculties, survive better because usually if you can't perceive the environment in a spatial way, you're not going to be able to navigate it. Just like there's like a social space that where you can navigate that also. Like that's what language did for us, is that the general intelligence found in animals and humans, because humans are animals, and also like non-human animals. So the thing is that when that connected to our language sensors, then that meant that we could so the thing is that it orients in space, and so that when it orients in space, it can see what happens in space. So it can see what it does affects the spatial reality that comes in and out. And so if I'm interacting with another human and I'm able to orient myself in space between both of us, then I can see that by making certain clicking sounds, or like just like sounds from language in general, I can make him do what I want. I can say, okay, go get me a bucket of water, and I'll give you this this flint stone, and and that's how, and that it's a back and forth. So the thing is that in the brain, there's nothing in there but back and forth feedback within the brain and also in the environment. The thing is that the cognitive control of a trial and error is why we have this back and forth system throughout the entire brain. So the thing is that once we had this back and forth system, like all creatures with brains have this. It's back so that they can navigate space. So once once we were able to socialize, and because of our hands and stuff like that, we could, you see, we use our hands to manipulate things. And so a a gorilla hand or a chimpanzee hand or a bonobo or a baboon, their hands cannot manipulate things in such a way as to make technology that's sophisticated. And mostly, since they survive by other means, they don't need to like they because they don't have language. I guess like they don't have a back and forth of people sharing ideas of how to make technology with their hands and stuff like that. And so 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 when we have the spatial aspect that's utilized, um, the brain has to store the information about the environment spatially. So the thing is, like, if I go into, like, it used to be that if you were a hunter-gatherer, you could travel 10 miles and you would know where every leaf on the ground would be. So the thing is that in order to, you had eidetic memory. You knew every leaf of on every tree, or maybe just like the position of every tree when you went down a 10-mile path and then came back to the encampment. And so the thing is that in order to store that information, the brain had to use compression, like file compression on a computer. But it's not the same kind of file compression. It's because the thing is, like, our brain throws out a lot of stuff. You see, if something repeats over and over again, like, then it's that means that there's a consistent pattern, and you can just compress it into, I see this tree every day. I don't need to remember 10 years worth of me 10,000 times me passing this tree. I only have to remember that I pass this tree every day, and I don't have to remember the 10,000 instances of which I had to pass by the tree. And so the thing is that by doing that, like, and like this is why the frontal lobes are important, because it's actually looking for new information that it can memorize, so that it can become more adaptive in its tool making. And so the thing is that, like, with our language centers, language, when we create new language, and when we understand language that has never been spoken in the history of man before, what I'm saying right now probably hasn't been said by anyone ever. So the thing is, but you still understand it, and so there has to be a like a mechanism that is able to put it into a context within the folding backward into itself, the recurrency of a thought. So the thing is that, like, that if that you are understanding what I am saying right now, even though you've never heard it before, because you can chunk it. So the thing is, like, once you have a string of, or you chunk everything together, that follows rules. The chunking follows rules. And so because the chunking, when you chunk one item with another item with another item with another item, and even in the 3D space, like 3D vision, like painting Picasso or Rembrandt or Leonardo da Vinci, or just like you go to a painting you've never seen before, and you can put it into your head. And so the thing is, the reason why you're able to understand new information is because when the chunks are stringed together, the rules of intelligence follows that. So the thing is, like, it's reflecting off itself. Everything's going back and forth, and so the thing is, like, it creates something new. I'm not exactly sure how it does this, but I'm pretty sure that the way the brain stores things, it stores things so that it can understand new information it's never seen before. And with IQ tests is that IQ tests are basically a measurement of it's patterns and manipulation ability and storage, short term and long term. So the thing is, like IQ doesn't measure everything because as like, for example, like comic books. Comic books in the 50s look a lot different from comic books from 2007 because or 2002 or whatever, because if you ever seen a comic book, like, how are they able to draw that? It's like it would be impossible for me to draw that, but the thing is that in the 50s and 60s they weren't as complex as like, I mean, the ones we have now are way beyond anything from the Renaissance or something like that. It's like some of them are just too complex to even fathom. And so the thing is that, like, the Flynn effect, whereas so the thing is, IQ tests are measuring a small part of the manipulation, pattern recognition, and storage. And so the thing is that, like, if you see, I have some very low scores. Like, I have low processing speed and low working memory, but my verbal intelligence is like better than like 99% of people according to the IQ test, whatever. So the thing is that, like, when you have an IQ test, it's like I said, figure weights are most connected, or like the or I forgot what that word was, but the thing is, it associated mostly with the front connecting to the parietal lobe. So the thing is, that's the figure weights is most connected to it, most connected to general intelligence. So the thing is that, like, I'm not going by appealing to authority or anything like that. Some people think IQ tests are crap, but the thing is that, like, they do tests to see if a part of a sub test of the IQ test matches some part of the brain by a correlation. So the thing is, like, it's general intelligence is 0.7 correlated with the frontal parietal connection, and then figure weights is also 0.7 of general intelligence. So the thing is that it's not measuring nothing. It's like they do researchers do tests to see if IQ tests work. And so the thing is that basically all that I've been saying is I just think that, like, it can be put into a perspective of the IQ test can measure aspects of the brain, so they do scans of each subtest for the brain to see what connects. So the video has to end right now because I don't have enough time. So maybe I'll make another video, but bye.